Hello to all of you out there on YouTube. My name is Raquel, and I'd like to share a little bit about why I sprout and why I like to sprout. Um, there are so many benefits to sprouting. First of all, let's consider about the seed. Let's consider the way that God made plants to reproduce. And we know that the result or how plants are replicated or how they reproduce is through the production of tiny seeds. Some seeds are big, some seeds are small. But when you think about it, a seed has to have in its system, in its little package, it has to have all the nutrients necessary for that plant to produce its roots, to be able to grow into a big enough shoot or sprout or little plant to then be able to absorb the nutrients from the soil. So within these little seeds, we have immense nutrition, powerful nutrition, enough that even a little seed will sprout and grow into a big tree. So seeds are very good to eat. There are edible seeds. Some of the most popular ones are the sunflower seeds and the sesame seeds, and of course nuts. We like to eat almonds and walnuts and pecans. But the seeds in our bodies, when we take them in the form when they're dead, so to speak, they are not as readily absorbable in our bodies. And this is why sprouting has, for many years now, has been known to increase that ability of your body, that increases the power of your digestion and your body to be able to break down the carbohydrates and the protein and all of these different aspects of these seeds. And so when we consider grains, when we consider beans, they are seeds. And for example, beans may cause a lot of problems for certain people. They may get bloating, and some people get gas, and some people have problems going to the bathroom because of beans or certain beans. I found that if I sprout my beans I soak them overnight, and then I drain them after they've been soaked for 24 hours, and then I rinse them for about another 24 hours. I try to rinse them at least 3 times a day so that the little sprout on the bean will show. And I have a lentil right here right now, but you can see how the little sprout there is seen. So if I sprout my beans so that that little root is visible, I find that the beans are so digestible. They are sweeter even too. And I believe that, and studies actually have proven that sprouts help the body and encourage the body to produce enzymes that are so vital for our digestion. And we want to be able to get the most of our food. And if we don't have good digestion, which most of us don't because we are eating too much dead food or processed foods that have been heated and reheated and so highly processed that the body has to work hard to digest it and break down it and to make these enzymes. And so sprouting is a way for us to help our bodies to digest our food. So there are different ways that I like to include sprouts in my food. One of my favorite ways is using buckwheat. And I have here a little bowl of buckwheat that I have sprouted. Now you have to get the raw buckwheat groats for them to be able to sprout. There are some toasted buckwheat that is dark, but that will not sprout because it's already been cooked. But if you notice, there are little sprouts on this buckwheat. And I'll try to hold my hand still there. So this is sprouted buckwheat, and it is so easy to sprout. I soak the buckwheat overnight. So before I go to bed, I soak it in this container. I put it in there, and I fill it up with water. And by the time I get up in the morning and have to leave for work, I drain it and I make sure that it's rinsed. Now with buckwheat, there's this gooey kind of slimy liquid that that is produced from soaking the seeds, and that's natural. What you want to do is you want to rinse the buckwheat enough so that the water that is not thick, the water looks more like water and is running. So that's when I know when I'm done rinsing the buckwheat. Otherwise, the buckwheat will not sprout properly. Bacteria will tend to multiply too much, and then just do that for a couple days, and you have your sprouted buckwheat, and it is so delicious. It is such a tender and just very mild flavor, and it's so good for you. One of my favorite ways to eat the sprouted buckwheat is by mixing it with some fresh fruit and raisins. And I put about the same amount of sprouted buckwheat with the same amount of fruit, 1 to 1, and mix it together. And I put a little bit of almonds and a little coconut milk, and it is delicious. It is a very healthy breakfast. Kids will love it. You have to try it. Now, what I find more of the tasty sprouts of the legumes are the lentils, sprouted lentils. There's a really good recipe out there, and I don't have it right in front of me, but I'm sure there are other recipes that call for sprouted lentils, and it's very good. It's tomatoes and sprouted lentils with peppers and basil and lemon juice and olive oil and sweet onions and olives, etc. It's just a wonderful recipe, and it's a very delightful way to eat sprouts. And you know, we can start slowly. If you don't like sprouts, you can start with just maybe a little bit. You know, these will last 3 days in the fridge. You want to keep them in the fridge once they're a certain length, because you don't want them to get so big that they become bitter. And so just make a little bit of amount of, sprouts, and sprinkle it in your salad. Sprinkle it in maybe even your rice or whatever you could be eating, to help your body have those enzymes available so that your food can be digested properly. There's just so many problems with digestion today. And another nice thing about, when I've gotten into sprouting, and I learned that I could sprout my own wheatgrass. Because wheatgrass, if you try to buy it in the store, it is so expensive. Just a little container will probably, about this big will cost $5. But here I have a little baggie here of wheatgrass that I grew, and I wanted to show you the container that I used. And this is without any soil, no soil at all. And this is because the wheat berries, the seeds, they're so packed full of nutrition that they really don't need at the sprouted stage, at the young, tender stage here. You know, it has enough nutrition to make these shoots, this grass, and have it be full of nutrition and chlorophyll. And I love doing it in the way that I did without having to mess with the soil. So no dirt in the house, just water. So I'm gonna grab the container that that has the wheat berries. And what I have here is a tub here that you can get from Walmart, a dish pan for just like about almost $2, or a little bit under $2. And then there are smaller pans that they sell for about 90 cents or so. And what we've done is I asked my husband to go ahead and put some holes there on the bottom of the smaller pan. And if you look can see here, inside I just have the berries laying in there, covering the bottom of the pan, and I rinse them after I soak them for 24 hours. Now, what I do with the berries to make sure that they're soaked long enough, I will soak them in the morning, and I will at night I will change the water. I will drain it and then put some fresh water and let it soak for the whole night. And so not till the next morning do I drain it and then put it on the bottom of this pan, and then allow it to start sprouting, shooting forth. And then in my sink with my little the little sprayer, I just rinse it off, and the water will go right through the holes, and I put it in this bigger pan and let it drain. Now, one thing with sprouts is that you have to be attentive that they don't start smelling bad, that there's no mold growing. And one way to, especially with the wheatgrass, it's very susceptible to mold. And when you start sprouting them, when you soak them, right after they're done soaking, after the 24-hour soak, what you can do is you can rinse them in water that has about a quarter of hydrogen peroxide in it. So 1 part water and a quarter part of hydrogen peroxide. And that will help so much. It will diminish the risk of having your sprouts be moldy. And you can do that with your smaller sprouts. And I wanted to show you the sprouts that I have here. These are alfalfa sprouts, and you can use a regular mason jar. I have here a jar that was made just for sprouting. But if you put about 2 tablespoons in this jar, it will fill it up. Right now it's not full. The sprouts aren't fully grown yet, but 2 tablespoons will fill up this container of full of sprouts. It is just a very economic way to grow fresh food. Sprouting is very economic compared to buying it at the store, considering how much you're going to be paying for just 2 tablespoons of alfalfa seeds. If you can get a good find a good provider, or what do they call their bulk, where you can order bulk things. It's very economical. I can buy a pound of alfalfa seeds for about $10, and that may sound really expensive, but these are organic seeds. They're not GMO, they're not sprayed with anything, but also just 2 tablespoons will make about, I don't know if it'll be quite a pound of sprouts, but it seems like a lot. That jar is not it's not a small jar, but it will fill it up, and so I will use it for a long time. And there may be other ways to get cheaper seeds, but usually seeds tend to be more cheaper. If you can get a good provider, or even if you can go to the farmer, if you know somebody who's growing grains or seeds, that is just the best way. Now, mung beans are known to be very, very good for you as sprouts. I don't really care for mung beans that much sprouted. They're just too strong for me, but they are very good, and there are many things that you can sprout there, and you can sprout your nuts, as I mentioned, your almonds, anything that is a seed. You can technically sprout and have it be healthy, or, well, not just, of course it's healthy before it's sprouted, but have it be a great advantage to your health. One of my favorite things to eat sprouted is bread, sprouted bread. I like to buy the Ezekiel brand, and there are other actually bread companies that are offering sprouted grain, but if you've never tried sprouted bread before, you need to, because you'll see a huge difference in the way your digestive system works. If you have problems with constipation because you're not getting enough fiber, sprouts are a wonderful way to supplement fiber. They're high in fiber. They're high in vitamin Bs. They're high in antioxidants to protect our bodies from cancer and free radicals. There's just, I'm sure, endless amounts of information about sprouts. But truly, sprouting has been a huge blessing for me, for my health, and it's just a good way to learn also just the way nature works. And that's pretty much all that I wanted to share. I hope that this is helpful to you, and if you haven't tried sprouting, it's very easy as long as you just keep it rinsed. If your sprouts smell bad, they shouldn't smell bad. They shouldn't smell putrid. Some sprouts, like broccoli seeds, will be very strong, and they will have a high sulfur smell, sulfuric smell. That's normal, but if they start smelling bad in a putrid way where it just really stinks and reeks, then you need to throw them away. They're not good anymore. You can put them in your compost pile or throw them out in the field for the birds to eat. But be very careful that you keep your sprouts rinsed at least twice a day. If you live in a very humid area, it's going to be at least 3 times a day. I live in a dry area here in the West, and so bacteria doesn't multiply as quickly. But if you're living in an area where it's very humid, make sure that you're rinsing your sprouts at least 3 times a day through the day, and you won't have any problems. Thank you for watching, and may the Lord bless you.